Good evening everyone, and thanks for joining us on our Year 11 Information Evening. The purpose of this evening is to help you understand the importance of Year 11 as a year in your child's GCSE studies. This year is not a simple preparation year and hasn't been for quite some time. If this is your first time with a Year 11 pupil in your family, hopefully tonight will help dispel any preconceptions. Those of you who have had a Year 11 pupil through the school, we hope that tonight can help you understand a few changes that we've made to the Year 11 programme and how we hope this will positively impact on your child's outcomes. Pupils who are tuning in, we hope this reiterates that parents and school are on the same team. We all want you to achieve your best whilst having positive experiences along the way. The screen on display shows a few important dates for your diary. An opportunity to speak to staff about your child's progress will be Tuesday the 18th of January. At the minute we plan for this to be via our online portal School Cloud, which will be used in Year 10. Keep an eye out for further information on this, and when it does come around, please take advantage of it. Assessments in Year 11 are again slightly different. This year there will be only 2 assessment periods. Mr. Hargy will explain some of the thought process behind this, but a major factor in this decision has been the general busyness throughout the course of the year for Year 11s. I've mentioned how important this year is, and I've mentioned assessment times. You've probably been discussing with your children what they are learning in their subjects, particularly their newer ones. Year 11 sees the introduction of different exam boards and schemes of assessment. If you're aware of the importance of Year 11, you might be trying to encourage your child to plan and get organised. You might ask the question, when is the most important time of the year for a Year 11 pupil? The simple answer to that is that the whole year is important. Children who are studying occupational studies modules are already completing tasks which are part of their portfolios, which will be submitted at the end of Year 11 or Year 12. Traditional GCSE subjects like geography are already covering material which will be on their real GCSE exam in June. On top of that, there will be sports fixtures, music lessons, drama opportunities, any amount of other distractions. It's a busy year, we know that, but being aware of what's ahead will help everyone have a better year. Teachers, parents and pupils alike. We are producing a booklet to outline some of the key assessment dates which we will share with you in the near future. As a school, we've tried to help in terms of stepping towards success with a few key points here. Targets. Set meaningful ones. We talk about SMART targets in school: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-specific targets. The end goal is GCSE success, but there are stepping stones along the way in order to achieve this. Setting personal targets can be beneficial. Simple ideas like saying, by Christmas, I'm going to be up to date with all my control assessments. Don't give up. There will be bumps along the way. It's about being able to take those bumps and knocks along the way and get back up and say, that didn't work, I'll try it this way, as opposed to, I can't do that. A buzzword in educational circles at the minute is resilience, or developing a growth mindset, learning from mistakes and using them to help you not make them again. Attendance, a figure that is regularly talked about in these evenings, is that 10% deterioration in attendance will result in an entire grade down at GCSE. We also understand that with the pandemic, attendance can fluctuate. So make the most of your time in school when you're able to attend. Make mature choices. Binge watching a TV programme on a school night to 12 in the morning is not a mature decision. Deciding not to watch the last episode of the series before going to sleep because you have school in the morning is a much more mature choice. Difficult as it may be, sometimes I need to take a wee bit of my own advice. Organisation is something which is key. Finding out what you need to know, what you need to have, and the practicalities of how something needs to be done will help when it comes to sitting down to do a piece of work. Wasting time having to organise these things when you could already have them done before is not effective use of your time. So, how do you or your child measure up? Looking ahead, think of this year as a journey that you're on. These first few weeks and months where things are maybe slightly less you're under slightly less pressure, you're finding your feet, getting into your stride, you're well hydrated and have plenty of energy. As you progress in your journey, you may pick up an injury or reach a particular tough stretch of path. What you've learned on previous trips or in previous years may not be enough to help you reach your goal of the summit. You'll need to pull on new skills and build on others to succeed. This time next year, you could be halfway through your journey in some subjects, perhaps more in others. Some subjects you study this year will cover 60% of the work this year. We spoke to Year 12 about them having limited time left and being on their last part of the journey. Perhaps another way of looking at things is thinking of the next 2 years as the process of building a house. At this stage, you're working on the first floor of a house. The second floor won't stand unless the first floor has been built effectively. Year 12 studies depend on putting the groundwork in during Year 11. You don't want to be wasting time next year patching holes in the first floor when you could be adding the finishing touches to the second. So make the most of it. In case my message through all these similes and metaphors isn't clear, this year matters. Get into your work, find your rhythm, and work through what your teachers are asking you to do. Some of the assessments you'll be completing this year will be under different headings, but all count towards the overall goal of completing a GCSE subject. Familiarising yourself with some of the key terms is worthwhile. You're going to be working towards modular exams in many subjects this year. Modular exams tend to be in traditional GCSE subjects like English, Geography or Business Studies, but there are also modular exams in BTEC subjects like BTEC Sport, Child Development and Health and Social Care. These are assessments which are normally completed after studying a particular area of a subject. Some subjects will give students the opportunity to resit some of the modules. They sit in Year 11 during their Year 12 year. Those opportunities for kids who feel that they can do better in that module. Control assessment. What is it? Well, control assessment is a replacement for what we know as coursework, or maybe grew up with knowing as coursework. A piece of work normally completed in class, under particular conditions, making up a proportion of your child's GCSE grade. Successful controlled assessments can mean the difference between a pass and a fail at GCSE, so take advantage of the time that you spend in class completing these. Equivalencies. What are they? What are equivalencies? Well, they're a mixture of practical and written work. In these subjects, you work on an ongoing basis, and if you fall behind in Year 11, it can be difficult to pull the grade back up in Year 12. I want to spend some time now focusing on the 3 big subjects that most people are studying: science, English and maths. Firstly, science. Pupils sitting single award science will sit 3 modular exams over the course of their 2-year studies, as well as a practical skills unit in term 2 and 3 of Year 12. Each assessment has an equal weighting of 25% towards their final GCSE grade. Those studying double award science again will complete modular exams in Year 11 and 12, one for each of the specialisms, with a weighting of 25% for each specialism. There will also be a 25% practical in the subject towards the end of Year 12. Moving on to Maths GCSE now. The Maths department have asked me to remind parents that a calculator is a requirement of the GCSE studies. Those are available to purchase from the Maths teachers in class for a price of £2. This next slide highlights some of the exams that are taken in Maths over year 11 and 12 and the different combinations that can lead to different potential outcomes. Your Maths teacher will discuss with parents and pupils the most appropriate combinations for your children. Now on to the last core subject, English. In Year 11, pupils will sit Unit 1 in May of 2022. This is worth 30%. A reset will be available in January of 2023 should the result not be satisfactory. Controlled assessment will also be completed throughout this year, with written tasks worth 10% and speaking and listening worth 20%. In Year 12, all pupils will sit another external exam in early June worth 30%, as well as continuing with controlled assessment with a final piece on spoken language which will be worth 10%. So, how can you help your child in English? Firstly, ensure they learn their notes for their controlled assessment. Check that they are completing their written homework. Encourage them to time themselves doing paper questions and ensure that they revise for English. They will have revision booklets to help them with this near the exam time. Thank you for listening. I am going to hand over to Mr. Hargey, who will discuss assessments. Before I do, I wanted to say that the plans in place for this year are obviously based on the assumption that the year ahead will be a normal one. We want to remain positive going forward and hope that alternative arrangements don't need to be made. However, if they are, we will be in touch to update you as soon as we are made aware. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Hargey and I'm the senior teacher responsible for raising school achievement. And I want to briefly talk about our revised approach to assessment and reporting in Year 11. I also want to go through ways we as a school and you as parents can be working together to best provide all the support necessary for your child throughout the next 2 years. There have been some changes to the way our reporting system is completed for Year 11s. I'll explain how this will impact on your child and how it will serve to support them in their first year of GCSE study. So just to make you aware of the assessment schedule for Year 11s and 12s, we have reduced the number of reports in Year 11 to 2. This in turn will increase the number of reports in Year 12 to 2. The reasons behind this are as a result of the 3 assessments a year model being very congested and tight. Having further exams after actual GCSE modules didn't seem an appropriate use of time. We feel this is better spent in class, completing controlled assessment work. So, just to recap then, in Year 11 you will receive 2 reports this year, one in November and the second report in April. So how will this affect pupils? The intention of this new approach is to provide as much support to Year 11s in their first year of GCSE study as we can. This will hopefully place less pressure to complete internal assessments across a range of GCSE and equivalent subjects. It also affords teachers more time to deliver their courses and not rush through content. Bearing all this in mind, I want to emphasise the importance of pupils and parents knowing your key assessment dates for exam modules and coursework submissions. Keep these dates in a safe place and continually check them. Throughout the school year, individual teachers, heads of year and senior teachers will monitor progress of Year 11 and Year 12 pupils. The priority here is to identify signs of underachievement in specific subjects or recognise trends across different subjects. The purpose is to ensure we are supporting all pupils and intervening with appropriate strategies to improve performance. So, just to give you an overview of what these strategies could be, subject teachers may decide to place pupils on individual monitoring reports. We may refer pupils to your academic mentor, where extra support to complete revision and coursework is provided. Specific GCSE subjects may offer after-school study classes, and we may request to speak to parents directly to discuss our concerns and how you as parents can help in this process. There are others, but the point here is that we don't wait until it's too late. We have intervention strategies in place which are targeted at addressing the factors contributing to individual pupil underachievement. In order to support our Year 11s through their 2 years of GCSE study, it will involve a partnership of all 3 of the areas shown in this slide. Now, the home aspect is key. We really do need your support to ensure that our Year 11s are progressing, realising the importance of their GCSEs and completing all necessary home study. This slide shows a list of the common pitfalls that some pupils can fall into, particularly in Year 12. Per attendance, obviously this will have a detrimental impact on GCSE study. Per organisation, not having the right equipment for certain subjects, a calculator for maths, pencils for art and design. Per note keeping, which then makes revision such an arduous task. And having a negative mindset. I've got my grade C, there's no point in me even trying this. This is easy, I don't need to revise. We want to encourage the right growth mindset, instill ambition and drive, and the determination to always want to improve. This is the attitude that helps bring about achievement, not just at GCSE, but it fosters the right approach for our young people when they leave school. So how do we avoid these pitfalls? Encouragement is key, both from teachers and at home. Be interested in your child's studies. Ask about what they are doing in class. We really do appreciate everything you do to support our Year 11s as they're completing their GCSE study. Finally, stay in contact with the school. Please let us know about any problems or concerns you or your child might be having. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Watson and Mr. Hargy, for sharing tonight, and can I thank you all for tuning in. Apologies for the slightly cheesy theme of my presentation, but I wanted something to highlight the importance of Year 11 and the fact that we need to start getting going now as pupils, parents and school. Obviously, home study is key to success, and it will vary from young person to young person, depending on the amount of exam subjects that they're doing. However, the vast majority will be doing at least English and Maths, so getting ready early is essential. It's all about getting the right culture from the start, or hopefully maintaining that from Key Stage 3. The homework diary should tie it all together, so pupils need to keep using it, and as parents checking it. Our experience does indicate that pupils tend to stop using it in Key Stage 4, and it is massively important that we don't let that happen. Also, having a space. I appreciate it's not always easy or possible, but perhaps a period of time could be set aside every night when nobody else is using the kitchen table or another area. Obviously, continue to be cautious about using phones and other devices. when trying to work or revise. Maybe try using them as rewards for when they're finished. Using a phone for recording answers, online revision sites and so on definitely can support learning, but it shouldn't be available at all times. I'm also a big advocate of this idea of task activities. You can ask your son or daughter, what exercise are you working on? Revising aimlessly for 1 hour every night might actually be better spent on the phone. What else can we provide them with? Being organised helps the idea of studying seem more manageable or chunked up, and therefore providing folders, files, dividers, post-its, flashcards, highlighters, nice pens to write with, etc. can be really beneficial. And this should be relatively inexpensive in the grand scheme of things, and a lot of you will know better than I do where to purchase these items, but do check out your bargain type stores, or there's always my favourite way of shopping, Amazon. The dreaded school bag or blazer full of notes or handout. Lots of important learning can easily be lost this way. Something I can be guilty of myself. Where's that page? I know I left it on my desk somewhere. Please try and have notes filed in the correct subject area. It really does keep everything a bit more organised and hopefully reduces the overall stress levels. Other things that bring added value and make things more task oriented will be items such as revision guides. Although they're not essential, they will help to focus on areas for improvement and create structure or simpler ways to understand a concept. Most will also contain questions. I do urge you, however, to check the examining boards, as this does impact content. The majority of our GCSE subjects are CA, but things like art and French are AQA, and the BTEC Health and Social Care, Sport, Child Development are Pearson. Past papers are also readily available online in many subjects and free. Again, check the examination board carefully. The revision timetable is another free thing, but a really simple way of getting ready to study. It involves sitting down together and deciding, when can we study? Consider carefully your week and all that has to happen. Put in place a very simple structure so that each subject has a reasonable allocation of time. This does, however, need to be flexible. Important to remember that extra tasks or homeworks can arrive in from some subjects, and that will happen in some subjects and not others. Hopefully doing and operating a timetable will reduce stress at the end and come to the mock examinations and modules and final exams. An example can be found in the homework diary, which pupils can enlarge and photocopy in school using their printer credits. Study. How can you support them as they study or revise? Do insist on breaks and exercise. Factor in free time and sleep. You as a parent, keep calm. Very often, if teachers and parents are wound up, the young people around us get wound up, and ultimately this puts up mental blocks. Stick to the plan, start and finish times. Use rewards. It might sound a bit babyish, but it works. It still works for me. Keeping the good or fun part ahead, but within reach. Be careful about commenting on results. I'm not saying give praise when a result is clearly below target or ability, but perhaps refer to the growth mindset idea that we have talked about in the past. Instead of that's too hard, use that this will take time to crack, or you're not good at this. Instead use what are we missing. Checking in, time revising, too much, too little. Content, what is being revised. Computers, do they help? Sometimes, but not always. I'd refer back to the past paper example, but worth remembering that most exams aren't done on the computer. Can we test them? Ask questions. Sometimes, in fact very often, useful for subject recall. Be flexible, willing to adjust and support. So looking at revision techniques, what works? Well, this depends on the learning style of your son or daughter. Kinesthetic, visual, auditory. However, keeping active tends to work for all. Active examples on the list are prompt cards, thinking maps, post-it notes, summary and tables and grids. Practice using command words: describe, explain, analyse, discuss. Try teaching someone else. Memory games. Thinking maps, and this is going back to year 8, and this concept of spider diagrams for subject knowledge or flow charts for processes. We really do see the value in these and would recommend using them. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes permanent. Theory has to be linked to processing, that idea of lateral thinking. Can a specific piece of information be taken and used in a different context? This needs to be practiced. The format of exam papers at GCSE level and on other levels, but particularly GCSE, tends to start with simpler 1 or 2 mark questions, but the big marks come as the paper moves on. Extended writing tasks or questions that involve the working out being displayed. Prompt cards, putting in place the key concepts. Useful to assess knowledge around a concept. A bit like the notes a speaker might make for a speech, but it's key that they've been practiced around that speech to recall the content. And lastly, go. Exams and controlled assessment now are very much exam style and need to be revised for in the same way. Subjects like science contain a practical exam. These are a great opportunity for marks to be picked up in the classroom before the actual GCSE modules or external exams start. Again, Mum and Dad, keep calm. Are they prepared? Knowledge, equipment. Start exam routines and stick to them over the 2 years. Food, breakfast. Energy drinks, they do run out quickly. Getting a real downer or sugar low halfway through an exam would be a disaster. Check in, but don't butcher it. You know your son or daughter best, and you'll know how they deal with feelings if things haven't gone to plan, and we need to respect that. Always remind them it's important, but it's not the end of the world. Homework overload. This varies from person to person and as mentioned earlier will be subject linked. Talk to us if your son or daughter is overloaded or you think they aren't getting enough. The head of year or perhaps the head of department will be able to guide you appropriately. The team slide, there's no I in team. Together means pupils, home, school. I'm aware this presentation has contained a lot of information from the 3 of us. Hopefully it has jogged all of our memories on what are the things that can be done in supporting our young people, and that this is a 2-year project that undoubtedly brings trials, highs and lows, but can and will produce the right outcomes. Year 11, I wish you all the very best. Good night and take care.